It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast show on this Tuesday morning. And of course, every Tuesday means that we have an opportunity to chat to our medical expert, Dr. Darren Green, to discuss a certain medical topic. And today we're talking about the fact that, of course, December brings with it summer holidays and time spent in the sun. But get this, sunburn can occur within 15 minutes of you being outside in the sun unprotected. And that damage caused is permanent, is irreversible, and adds up with each exposure. Now, skin cancer is the uncontrolled growth of abnormal skin cells, and it occurs when unrepaired DNA damage to the skin cells triggers a mutation or genetic defect.
Now, according to Skin Cancer Foundation, sustaining 5 or more sunburns increases one's lifetime melanoma risk to 80%. And here to help us unpack how to protect ourselves from the sun and how to reduce the risk of getting skin cancer is our trusted medical professional, Dr. Darren Green, in the house. Dr. Darren Green, those are some shocking statistics. If I think about how many times in my life I've experienced sunburn, hectic sunburn, where your skin actually turns red. And I'm a brown person. But let's start off with what exactly is skin cancer?
Yeah, so just as we define cancer generally in all parts of the human body, the skin being obviously the largest organ in the human body, you must remember that it's about uncontrolled abnormal cell growth.
Okay.
So you have different triggers in cancer. You have environmental triggers, stress on those cells, and like you mentioned in your intro, changes the DNA structure so that when those cells, when they have mitotic change or divide and form new cells, abnormal cells then divide and form, and then the rate of growth of those abnormal cells just becomes uncontrollable. And that's what a tumor is when we speak about a tumor. It's a collection of abnormal cells that are growing at an abnormal rate with abnormal shapes and sizes, obviously.
So let's pierce the proverbial epidermis, shall we?
Yes.
Go slightly deeper.
Yes.
And understand exactly what it is that causes the skin cancers. I mean, you're outside in the sun, and the sun is shining on your skin, and it's making it a lovely tone of brown.
Beautiful.
What's
going on with that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the epidermis is the outside, the shell. So if you take a peach, it's the hairy part of the peach, whereas the dermis lies just underneath the epidermis. So you can see that layer over there, that beautiful colored layer. And then you start seeing, as we move deeper, that's the dermis. And then you move to the fat layer, which is over there. That's the adipose tissue and the muscles that lie underneath. So you've got 3 different cell types in this dermal layer. And the names are on the top there. You'll see the melanoma. You've got basal cells, you've got melanocytes, those are the cell types, and then you have what's called keratinocytes that make keratin, which are very important in the skin structure. But the bottom line is that the melanocytes that lie deeper down, that they're depicting there is a melanoma, the cancer already. But the melanocytes, the origin of the melanoma, is a specific cell type that lies in the dermis that makes melanin, which gives you your color, your pigment.
Okay.
And they manufacture melanin to release that pigment into the adjacent areas to protect you from the sun's rays in terms of the UVA particularly penetrating to the deeper layers and causing damage and triggering the basal cells as well.
That DNA or genetic change that then results in that mutation.
There you go. So it's important to have melanocytes that are working properly. And also to understand that they play a very important role. And thus, you know, the notion of black don't crack in terms of skin color, you are protected a little bit more naturally with more melanocytes.
But black do crack.
It cracks.
You know what I'm saying.
All right. Well, talking about cracking, we want to find out what are some of the warning signs of skin cancer. We'll talk about that after this. If you have any questions or comments, 021-430-9881. Our medical expert, Dr. Darren Green, is here to answer your questions.
All right, yes, we're back again with Dr. Darren Green. Very interesting subject matter. We're talking skin cancer, especially with the summer season upon us. The fact that we'll be going out, spending loads of time in the sun, whether it be on the beach or in a park or just at a general braai with the family. But there's so much for you to know about this, especially melanoma, the most uncommon yet most dangerous form of cancer we're learning now from Dr. Darren Green. Craig is on the line. He's called us on 021-430-9881. Good morning, Craig. Craig, are you there?
Craig from Joburg. Hello, Craig. Are you there?
Intro
All the
music.
way from Joburg, I know.
Craig, are you
I think
there?
we lost
Okay.
Craig.
We might have lost
Yeah,
Craig.
we
We'll
lost
try and
Craig.
get him back.
But I
on the
wanted to
line.
ask you, Dr. Darren Green, what are those warning signs that we should be looking for with regards to skin cancer?
Yeah, well, the most common types of skin cancer are what's called basal cell. So in fair people, it's often easier to see a red blemish or something standing out. So if you've got a light of complexion, you can often see a red dome appearing with scaliness or flaking of the skin, and then eventually even perhaps a crater that could happen, it's called a rodent kind of phenomena. But those are signs that it's red, it's inflamed, it's itchy initially, it can grow in size. When it comes to melanoma, which is the melanocytes, the darkest spots, everyone thinks of the moly mole when we speak about melanoma. And all moles aren't melanomas until we obviously have to define them, but we'll get to that. So understanding that's important. So looking at the color, the consistency, the contour of the lesions is important. Often there's a pearlized red appearance to it on the sun-exposed areas predominantly. So nose, ears, face, forearms, etc.
Yeah. Earlier on, you were telling us about the ABCs of skin cancer that we need to be aware of that could help you possibly maybe even self-diagnose.
Specifically when it comes to melanoma, and so when to worry about your dark spot or your mole, and asymmetry, borders. So the asymmetry would imply that the lesion itself isn't a perfectly round circle that's flat. That's a normal mole. But the asymmetry, the borders are irregular. The color can have 50 shades of brown in it, not just one color. And then the diameter, obviously, is greater than, we speak about 6 millimeters, but we watch that diameter to see if it changes over time and how rapidly it changes, and then whether the lesion itself evolves in its morphology and how quickly it evolves. So those ABCDEs are very important when assessing the dark spots or what we call the moles or nevi.
Yeah. My mom always tells me to watch mine because I think I've got 2 or 3.
Yes.
So I just, okay, you're normal. You're still looking
Yeah, they do what's called mole mapping. And then they
Yes.
look at how many you have, how big they are, and then you do a sequential follow-up with your dermatologist who can then see if you've got any new ones and whether the old ones have changed in these features.
Yeah. When we come back, we're going to talk about how it's treated, but I think just to kind of emphasize to people out there the importance of applying sufficient amounts of sunscreen when you're going out there, because Dr. Darren Green was telling us now during the break that once it develops, melanoma can be unseen, as in you're not going to see something, a black patch on your skin that alarms you.
Correct.
It could literally be below the skin surface and then you die from it, and that can only be discovered afterwards because there aren't any particular specific ways of testing for melanoma if it's unseen.
And of course, the one that shocked me was lips.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
often do we protect our lips? And lip cancer is a thing as well.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to keep Dr. Darren Green here, and our line's still open, 021 430 9881.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back,
to your
yes.
Feel Good
Tell 'em,
Breakfast Show.
girl.
We're in there.
We're
We're
in
so
sync.
in there. We're chatting about skin cancer, how to protect yourself against it, and also unpacking how it is that you can see if it's something that is affecting you right now. The lines are open. We lost Craig a little bit earlier on, but I feel we need to get Craig back because I feel like Craig had a very important question.
Yeah.
021 430 9881. We're talking about how to treat skin cancer.
Yeah,
right?
but
That
can we
was
just
your-
go back? Because for me, the scary thing was that if it is sub-epidermis, if you will, sub-epidermis, is that even a term? Yeah. What are the different ways in which you can get screened if you do feel like maybe I've had a bit of sun exposure and I'd like to get tested to see whether I might have the makings of melanoma?
So if you don't have an outward evidence of a skin change, like a flaking skin, because you get what you get on the outside of the epidermis, cells that are called the horny, scaly cells. And those are the ones that often reflect what's happening around them or slightly underneath them. And if those aren't showing you anything, your first experience might be something like a sensation change from the deeper layer.
Okay.
In other words, the nerves that supply the skin
Yeah.
might become affected from activity that's happening lower down. Then you might feel, but I've got a patch that's burning here and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Or itchiness or inflammation that you can't see on the outside that's underneath. With histamine, we all know about histamines, itchiness. And thus we warn people that if there's recurrent symptoms specifically around a specific area, don't just ignore it. If it's recurrent, then have it checked out. And then, of course, the unfortunate things are undetected cancers that keep developing and evolving that you can't see. You lose weight quite dramatically, but those are normally in their last stages already, when it's spread and you don't know. I mentioned that you get melanoma that's very rare on the inside of the body.
Yes.
Where you might not even have a patch or a dark outside skin patch.
Exactly.
That when you go into the abdomen and do a laparoscopy, you can actually see patches on the inside wall of the abdominal lining.
How would you know that you've got that, though? Is there...
You won't know.
You can't
know. So that's the whole point. You can only manage the risk that you know about.
Yeah.
So you can manage people with fair skins. You can manage, for example, your exposure, your duration of exposure to UV, and protecting your skin, obviously, as well.
Yeah, applying that sunscreen as often as possible, every half an hour, I think, is a general rule. With
And in water sports, that's
exactly.
it, in water sports.
So once it's been detected, how is skin cancer treated?
Yeah, so the three I mentioned earlier on, basal cell and squamous cell carcinoma, those are graded according to the lesion and how deep it penetrates that dermis, you know, how many millimeters it actually goes down.
Yeah.
And those are often local cancers. In other words, they don't spread aggressively, but they are the most common cancers, the basal cell ones. It looks like a pearlized red dome that I mentioned that can form a crater on the nose or the ears or the face. So you'll just find a little hard bubble on your skin, really, that's a little bit red and it looks a bit coarse and flaky.
Yeah.
So when that doesn't go away and that's quite persistent, and it's not just a pimple, that's when you need to have it checked out. Because that would be treated according to the grade and the amount of millimeters. Often they're surgically removed.
Yeah.
There are also other therapies now, obviously like laser therapy as well, depending on the different subtype. And the depth of penetration of that skin layer determines what kind of treatment you get.
Yeah. All right. Of course, if you have any questions to ask, 021 430 9881. Dr. Darren Green is here to answer all of them. Well, 021 430 9881 is the number you can call to ask your questions to Dr. Darren Green. Our topic for today, protecting yourself from skin cancer, especially with the holiday season upon us. We have a caller on the line. A very good morning to you, Gregory from Atlantis.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Dr. Darren. Morning, everybody. Sir, I've been working in the sun for quite some time. So 3 up to 4 months I was working in the sun. And I burned my shoulders so severely that even if I wash, it hurts. Is there anything I can use for it?
All right, thank you very much, Gregory.
Thank you.
So he was working sunburn on the shoulders, very so even when he washes, it's still very painful.
Yes.
So what can you use to relieve the pain? And
yeah, so often you find people would take something like a simple analgesic, even like a tablet like paracetamol.
Yeah.
Topically, a lot of people use aloe gel, or they'll use some arnica products as well, in terms of natural stuff. And there's some ice and fridge and freeze that a lot of people use in summer that cool down the skin. And most of them contain what's called tea tree. In that gel preparation. But certainly helping getting the heat out of the skin and protecting it would be moisturizing it, and then obviously cold packs.
stay out of the sun.
To have to get that. And then decrease the time, the duration. But you need to protect. If you know you're going into the cricket players, I mean, you must have experienced that. You know, and you have to keep reapplying.
And don't worry about the aesthetic. You may look white as a ghost, but go out there because you're protected. That's important.
That's it.
But here's the thing, though. I'm going to go check out the Super League on Sunday, the finals, right? And I was looking to getting a nice pop, you know, of color. And it is summer. A lot of people are looking to go and lie on the beach and, you know, get their tan on. How can we do it? Because we know there are people that will.
Yes.
But how can we do so safely?
Eat and drink carrot juice.
Okay.
No, I'm serious.
A lot of our overseas and our European counterparts, they love drinking lots and loads of carrots because the pigment in carrots obviously gives you an orange tinge to your skin.
Yeah.
Really?
So people that drink too much of it often can look orange. It's quite interesting. But anyway, so getting back to your question, I think that the important thing would be planning in advance. So don't go and not have anything with you. So rehydrate, because the elasticity of the skin is affected by the amount of water you consume. Certainly applying your sunscreen or your sunblock. Remember the sun protection factor, 30 and up is recommended, and that you reapply that every 30 minutes if you actually near the water. Remember that the greatest time zone is between 11 and 3 p.m.
That's when the sun is at
That's when the UV, and today in Cape Town, for example, is one of the highest UV exposure days. But between 11 and 3 p.m., those when you need to be really particular. So with children and kids, think about swimming, for example, earlier on in the day, in the morning and so forth. the gazebos, the umbrellas. They
Yes.
all help. Every layer helps with breaking that layer. And remember also to protect your eyes in terms of UV protection as well. Polarized lenses, for example, help you with white light bouncing off other surfaces that can cause damage in the eyes with the UV protection.
Wow,
So
wow, wow. And then, of course, there's the fact of what you eat can also help heal your body.
as an anti-inflammatory
Yes.
mindset of diet from the inside out. Yeah.
Yeah, watch what you eat. Wow, valuable tips. Thank you very much for sharing
Thank
your
you.
time and expertise, Dr. Green. I think that's all we have time for, unfortunately, on this Tuesday morning. We hope that you found that enlightening. If you want, you can follow Dr. Darren Green on social media. You do still engage on, a bit of a Twitter
Yes,
here
yes,
and
we go
there.
there. Now and again, we try.
I see you on the gram a lot, though.
The gram.
The gram.
At Dr. at Dr. Darren Green. But stick around to your Feel Good Breakfast show. Still lots more to come.